Hey everybody, welcome back to the Mass Retirees Weekly Update. I'm Sean Duhamel. Today's Friday, June 3rd. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining with us again this week. Now I have a very special guest and a little bit of a unique topic. Joining me today is my good friend and my long-term colleague, Kathleen Kiley Bacchetti. Kathleen and I first met when I was a staffer here at Mass Retirees. She was a staffer for the Mass Turnpike Authority retirement system, which of course has since been merged with the state retirement system. But Kathleen has gone on to serve as general counsel for the Boston Retirement Board, executive director of the Boston Retirement Board. She is now the executive director of the Norfolk County Retirement System, and she serves as a retirement board member for the town of Watertown, who, by the way, just increased their COLA base to $14,000. So thank you, Kathleen, for your vote for our Watertown members. But today I want to focus on another role that Kathleen heads. She is also the president of the Mass Association of Contributory Retirement Systems. Kind of a mouthful. In our retirement community, it's simply known as Macross. Macross represents all 104 retirement systems across the state. They have a conference coming up in a couple of weeks. They play a critical role here in Massachusetts of making sure that our retirement board members and retirement board staff have the resources that they need and the educational tools that they need to do their job on all of your behalf. So Kathleen, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know you have a lot on your plate right now to join with me and talk to our members a little bit, but could you give a little bit of just background? What is Macross? What is the role? And I know a lot of our folks have heard the name before, but they might not necessarily know what it's all about.
Sure. First off, let me say thank you. Thank you, Sean, for inviting me, for joining you today in your video, and for reminding everyone how long we've known each other. It's a good thing that we don't age. But yes, Macross actually has been around since 1937, so it's actually even a little bit older than us. Its sole purpose is to strengthen and preserve the retirement systems. So that would be for the actual board members and the staff. And as you know, we offer 2 educational conferences a year. Our annual conference is held in June in Hyannis. And then we typically have a fall conference held in October in Springfield. And we invite all of the retirement board members and staff to come down, network, exchange ideas, and obviously get their educational credits. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19, we haven't been able to meet in person since 2019. So this will be our first in-person conference, which will be running June 13th through the 15th. And right now we're anticipating about 300 people in attendance. So we're really looking forward to seeing everyone in person. As you know, we've had some new faces that have joined us over the last 2 years. And we have a lot to do during those 3 days.
So Kathleen, I've, of course, over the years attended countless Macross conferences, as have you. And I think a lot of the base of knowledge that I've been able to learn over the years enables me to do my job here at Mass Retirees. A lot of that education has come through Macross. And can you just talk about some of the seminars that are put on, some of the guest speakers? I know that the focus of this conference, or one of the focuses of the continuing education credits, is on a very topical and important topic, cybersecurity.
Mm-hmm.
Just talk a little bit about the types of programs that are offered.
Sure. So you're correct. So this year we do have a pretty big cybersecurity block. We're going to do a couple of different things. Unfortunately, just like everyone in the world, we are faced with fraudulent actors. They actually come after not only our retirees and our members, but our retirement systems. So we need to remain vigilant. So we are going to have an educational session in which board members will receive credit to understand how to protect ourselves from cyber threats, how to advise our membership from cyber threats, to do technology assessments for our organizations, potentially to get cyber insurance, which is actually a very lengthy process and would be very beneficial in case there is an attack. It's a very obviously important issue that faces everyone, but certainly we are not immune to it. It's a conversation that will begin in June. We actually did have a conversation virtually over the last 2 years but it will be continuous. It's just like technology. So every few months, we're going to have to re-educate ourselves to protect ourselves, because unfortunately, fraudulent actors work really diligently to hurt us, and we need to be able to work back to protect ourselves.
And I should point out that the role of the boards isn't just to protect the retirement assets, and collectively in Massachusetts, the retirement assets total well over $100 billion. So, it's obviously a target, but the boards are also responsible for protecting all of your information. They contain a lot of personal information, your social security numbers and so forth. So it is very important that data be protected. It's something that the retirement community has taken very seriously for a long time. But as Kathleen just pointed out, technology is constantly changing. Criminal actors that are out there are constantly trying to find new ways to gain access to that information. And knock on wood, we have a pretty good track record here in Massachusetts. But the reason for that is because of the continuing education that's taking place and the efforts that our retirement community continue to be actively engaged in to just provide the best type of protection for everybody that they can. Now, Kathleen, I think one of the things that makes Massachusetts unique is the requirement that our retirement board members, by the nature of their positions, they're by state law required to continually pursue continuing education credits. Talk a little bit about that process. What is the requirement? And in addition to Macross, what are the other resources available to make sure that our board members have the proper tools and information they need to do their job?
Sure. So retirement board members are required to receive 18 credits in their term period, and the typical term is 3 years. Certainly you can obtain more credits. PERAC, the regulatory agency, will only allow 9 credits to each board member in a year, but the goal is to obtain 18 credits. So for an example, for our conference in June, or in a couple of weeks, we're actually going to provide 9 credits if you're there for all 3 days through 3 different sessions. But PERAC offers many credit sessions. They publish memos so that you can figure out where you can get either online or in-person credits. There's many ways for board members to obtain credits to be eligible to remain on their board. But I think it was definitely a critical part of the change, the retirement boards, to require educational credits, because as we talked about, this is a growing area, and we certainly want to make sure that our retirement boards are well informed. We're very fortunate that we work with board members and staff that are very professional. They're very dedicated to what they do. That's why they do it. And now we're being able to offer them education to continue to hone their skills. So I think that is a really important aspect to being part of the Macross community.
No, I think you just made an important point, making sure that our board members are well informed, have all of the tools that they need to do their job, but also learn of different ideas and concepts, and also hear from organizations like Mass Retirees. And Kathleen, I want to thank you for allowing Mass Retirees to have a speaking slot at the upcoming conference. Frank Valeri and I will both be making presentations on the types of activities that our association is involved in. And of course, a major focus right now is on the cost of living adjustment and making improvements to the COLA. Our upcoming newsletter is going to cover the fact that at this time, about 20 retirement systems have increased the COLA base heading into the next fiscal year. And as I pointed out, the board that Kathleen serves on, Watertown, is one of those systems. But the reason why these boards are equipped to be able to do this and have had the success over the past 10 years to have the ability to increase and improve benefits is largely due to the professional approach that these systems have taken, and the investment returns really speak for themselves. Now, I know, Kathleen, another focus of Macross is the legal panel. And you yourself are one of the prominent pension attorneys in Massachusetts. There's a handful of attorneys here in Massachusetts who are expert on the state retirement law, which of course is Chapter 32. And a big focus at every Macross conference is the legal panel to talk about recent cases involving the retirement law. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure, absolutely. So PERAC is the agency, our regulatory agency, as you know, and they do track all of our educational credits, and they have reported that the legal pending credit session by all retirement board members. In fact, and I know you know this, Sean, because you've attended so many conferences, when you go in the conference room, you'll see many members of the staff that attend the legal panel just to hear about the cases, the case law, and any changes that are potential or are definitely upcoming for retirement public employees. The legal panel is a foundational element of our conferences. As you said, we offer them at both conference. During COVID, we offered them virtually. It's really important that retirement board members and staff understand the changes in pension law. As you know, we're governed under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 32. These aren't policies that retirement boards are putting forth. This is actually rooted in the constitutional law, in the Commonwealth's law. So we need to make sure we're following that to a T. And certainly the legal panel is a great draw. We're very fortunate. There are several prominent pension attorneys in Massachusetts that solely practice public pension law, and they volunteer their time to come to our conferences and educate the retirement systems, board members, and staff.
I think, Kathleen, that's an important point. A lot of folks, whether it's the legal community, members of the Macross executive board and Macross officers, across the board, very, very few folks are being paid to participate in these conferences, and the work that goes into it is primarily entirely volunteer work. But at the same time, we cannot underscore the importance of the work and just the benefit that is provided, to our members. In addition, as Kathleen said, in addition to the retirement board members themselves, and each system has 5 members. The exception being the teachers' retirement system has 7 members on their board. But in addition to the retirement board members themselves attending the conferences, the staff of the retirement systems who play a vital day-to-day role in the administration of benefits, meeting with members of the retirement system, handling inquiries from retirees and so forth, is critical that these folks also receive the education and the resources that they need to best serve all of you. And over the last few years, we've seen a lot of turnover with staff, both for board members and paid retirement board staff. So these conferences are that much more important. Kathleen, anything that we've missed, or anything you'd like to say that we can wrap this up?
Certainly. So there's one thing that I did want to address, because you mentioned it a couple of times. You did mention that the Watertown Retirement Board was able to raise the COLA base. And I thank you for acknowledging that, but I really need to acknowledge you and thank Mass retirees. This certainly is something that the Watertown Retirement Board has tried to do. And for you, getting out the information about what other retirement systems are doing across the Commonwealth was very helpful for Watertown to be able to move. And without you sharing that information and getting it out to all the boards to see, we were able to look in the newsletter and see where all the boards stood. Watertown, certainly being fully funded, did not want to be at the low end of offering cost of living increase to retirees. So I thank you for getting that information out and for helping us protect and better. I screwed up. I'm sorry. I lost it. I'm sorry.
You want to do this all over again?
We're almost there.
All right.
No, we can't start all over again.
Okay. All right. So anybody who's still watching this is our blooper reel as well. So we've got through this point, but if you watch to this point, you get a prize. But just to jump on what Kathleen just said, first of all, thank you so much for saying that. The work that goes on here in Massachusetts on your behalf, it takes teamwork. We're your advocates, but we cannot do this by ourselves. We depend heavily on folks like Kathleen and her fellow board members in Watertown and the entire retirement community, as well as elected officials all across the state. It's our job to advocate, provide the information and the backup that's needed at the local level for them to be able to get the job done. But at the end of the day, it's Kathleen and her colleagues who carried the proverbial ball over the goal line. So thank you for that. So with that, the blooper reel, I'll give you the last word.
No, I don't want the last word, but thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. I'm sorry to put a blooper into your video, but this is real life.
It is real life.
Thank you very much for your support. Thank you for having me. And I look forward to seeing you at our conference, even though it's going to be by video.
Yes, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to attend the Macross conference. I'm going to be heading out on a trip with my wife for the first time in a couple of years, but I'm providing a video to talk about the new Mass Retirees Educational Foundation and the importance of the foundation to the retirement community, as well as the retirement systems, and engage the 104 retirement systems, 102 local systems in that process. So, thank you for the opportunity to be there virtually. Frank Valeri and the rest of our staff here will be there physically in attendance. And I look forward to seeing you in person out in Springfield in the fall.
Yep, and
Thanks,
I look forward to collaborating on the new foundation. And enjoy the trip with Nicole.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.